My name's Karel Williams. I'm a professor at Manchester Business School and director of the CRESC Research Centre in Manchester, the Centre for Research in Socio-Cultural Change. A long time ago, I worked in the University of Wales in Aberystwyth, and I think one of the interesting things then was there were a couple of institutions like the press or Guerilla, which actually brought people together. But really, there wasn't anything broad in social sciences which brought the different university elements together. And I think WISERD, basically, at this conference, is doing what the University of Wales should be doing, which is putting together the strength that's dispersed around Wales in one conference and allowing people to network and present to each other. I'm going to talk today about guerrilla experiments and the Welsh economy, which is a rather cryptic title. But it's really about how do you find the space, the political space, or where do you find the political space for economic regeneration? Because I think there are two things which are important. First of all, a place like Wales, which has been falling behind by all the standard economic indicators, needs a different and more imaginative set of economic strategies. And at this stage, I think a set of riskier experimental strategies. That's one part of the argument. And then there's another part of the argument, which is that we need to think very carefully about the balance of political forces and the fact that across large areas of the economy, business-friendly government is the rule, and that therefore my argument this afternoon is going to be that we should concentrate on, so to speak, the soft areas of the social, particularly issues about outsourcing, and specifically, I think, the question of what to do about adult care, which I think is a major unrecognised crisis in this country. This project is really a long-term project of thinking about possibilities of economic regeneration in disadvantaged areas like Wales, or indeed northern industrial cities, or the more disadvantaged parts of London. And this doesn't so much grow out of a grant and isn't so much a specific project as a kind of conversation between people who've known each other for years, the senior people, apart from the crowd of people I work with at the business school would be Mick Moran from political science, John Law from the Open University, Sukhdev Johal from Queen Mary. And today's paper's typical in that it grows out of a conversation between some of those people, in this case mainly myself and Sukh Johal, about how do you find the political space in which you could start to demonstrate the potential of an alternative economic policy. The whole question of what to do, I think, is very much mixed up with uncertainty at present, partly because I don't think the problems in finance and banking have been fixed. Indeed, I don't think they are fixable at present. And I also think that increasingly, in political terms, people realise that the kinds of economic growth we have in the UK are unsustainable because they're based on house property and only give income to a relatively small number of privileged households in the top 10%. How this plays over the next 3 or 4 years, I don't really know. And depending on whether we have a return of crisis and depending on what happens after the next election, I would imagine we would then be adjusting our arguments about economic regeneration, and specifically, I think immediately, because you can't tell the medium term, I think I'm going to be doing some work on adult care with Ian Rhys-Jones and others, including Paula Hyde from Durham University, over the next year or two, because I think that there's much talk about the NHS and education, but I think adult care is a great unrecognised crisis in this country.